Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Michaela Kerrison, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. If you are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Sapper Ernest Samuel Northey. Ernest Northey was born in 1894 in Broken Hill, New South Wales, the eldest of 4 children born to Samuel and Elizabeth Northey. After his schooling, he moved to Adamstown, near Newcastle. There, he worked for the Newcastle Department of Trade and Customs as a clerk. He also volunteered in the local militia, serving in the infantry and engineering units. Ernest Northey enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 14th of July 1915, and he was assigned to the 6th Reinforcements of the 5th Field Ambulance. He embarked for active service from Sydney on the 13th of October on board the troop ship Port Lincoln. Northey arrived on the Greek island of Lemnos in December 1915 and joined the 3rd Australian General Hospital. He became ill and was admitted to hospital, and after the Allied evacuation of the Gallipoli Peninsula was sent to Egypt in January. He was in hospital until March, when he was found fit for duty and transferred to the 4th Division Signals Company with the rank of Sapper. After 3 months of training, he embarked for France in early June 1916 and was immediately sent north to the Somme Valley, which had been the site of heavy fighting since 1914. And after a fortnight's leave, he took part in his first major battle in August 1916 near the French village of Pozières. Over 42 days, the Allies made 19 separate attacks against German positions. Allied casualties numbered 23,000 men killed, missing or wounded. Northey survived the carnage at Pozières and was later awarded the military medal for his actions during the battle. His citation read, "Sapper Northey did especially good on the night of the 31st of August 1916, when repairing telephone lines for the 13 hours under severe enemy shell fire." Northey's unit moved to Belgium for a short period, away from the main action in France. The 4th Division later returned to the Somme, just in time to spend the bitterly cold winter of 1916 in the trenches. Early 1917 was spent following the enemy as they retreated to the fortified Hindenburg Line. Northey took part in his next major battle in April, near the village of Bullecourt, during the Allies' first attempt to break through the German lines. Under heavy machine gun and artillery fire, and without the expected support of tanks, Australian units suffered over 3,000 casualties in one day. After the first attack at Bullecourt, the 4th Division was sent to Ypres sector in Belgium. Northey was involved in the attack on Mézine Ridge in June. He later wrote to his parents, "At 3:10 a.m, the mines exploded and fire commenced. The din made by the guns and the bursting of shells made up a wonderful, inspiring spectacle, one never to be forgotten. The engineers hopped over the parapet shortly after the infantry. Our duty was to establish telephone communication with the front and rear tanks as the advance proceeded. The smoke, fumes, and dirt nearly choked us. The shell fire for the first 24 hours was so intense that it was impossible to keep the lines in order. Somehow, I feel confident that the good God, who has safely brought my comrades and myself through so much, will see us right through the war and bring us safely home again." Northey's division took part in continued bitter fighting for the remainder of 1917. In February 1918, Northey was again hospitalised, this time with trench fever. After a short period in hospital in England, he trained with the Engineers Signal Section and rejoined his unit in France in October. 3 weeks later, on the 11th of November, the armistice was signed. The First World War came to an end. Sapper Northey embarked from England in January 1919 on board the troop ship Ulysses. Northey was welcomed back by his parents and a large group of friends and family. The local newspaper reported, "Sapper Northey saw a great deal of fighting, and at present he is not in very good health." Northey's health worsened in the weeks after his arrival, and he was sent to Randwick Military Hospital in Sydney for treatment. Suffering from a cough, night sweats, and abdominal pain, he was diagnosed with pulmonary tuberculosis, a malady for which there was no real cure. On the 10th of November 1990, almost a year after signing of the armistice, Sapper Ernest Northey died in hospital at Randwick. On the anniversary of his death in 1922, his parents posted a memorial notice in the Newcastle Morning Herald, which read, "Today brings back sad memories. He rose responsive to his country's call and gave her his best, his life, his all. We have lost, but heaven has gained, one of the best this world contained." Ernest Northey was 25 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sapper Ernest Samuel Northey, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If you are able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. Thank you. We wish you all a pleasant evening.